We're gonna watch a Coffeezilla video. In case you guys don't know who Coffee is, Coffeezilla is sort of like the internet detective. He tries to just keep people educated, and apparently, I haven't seen this video yet, he gave an explanation as to what happened with Luna. So a couple people asked for this. I haven't seen it yet. We can watch this and then get back to our normal stuff.
The crypto markets are crashing, and two of the world's largest cryptos, Luna and UST, face extinction from a multi-billion-dollar bank run. That's billion with a B. As of recording, I still don't know if these coins are going to recover, and the big question on everyone's mind is, how did this happen? I brought on an expert to explain it, but first we have to talk about the basics of this stuff. Terra USD, also known as UST, is an algorithmic stablecoin, which is different from fiat-backed stablecoins like Tether, which at least pretend to be backed by real money. Algorithmic stablecoins, on the other hand, aren't backed by anything. The way they maintain their peg to the US dollar or euro is with market dynamics by incentivizing arbitrage. Usually, there's a pair of tokens, one of them paired to the currency, and the other can fluctuate. And I'm not going to get into exactly how this arbitrage thing works because it's quite complicated and others have covered it in a great amount of detail. The point is that usually these things work really well and make a lot of money for everyone right up until they don't and things go boom.
Man, crypto's so fucking complex.
Every single algorithmic stablecoin has eventually lost their peg in what's known as a death spiral, where people lose their faith in the coin finally and rush for the exit. And because this stablecoin is not collateralized in any real way, most people end up losing their money in these exit situations. Famously, Mark Cuban got wrecked with a stablecoin called Iron and its Titan pair. Many people have compared this token pair to UST and Luna. However, there are differences which we're going to get into. But the point is, there's been a lot of failure in the algo stablecoin space, which you need to know about. People meme about all the different failures and say, look, you guys are trying alchemy. It's impossible. You can't create value from nothing. Despite this fact, it hasn't stopped people from trying. Every time a new algorithmic stablecoin fails, two more crop up with new strategies about how they're going to finally defeat this death spiral.
I always ask myself this. I say, with this cryptocurrency, what intrinsic value does it provide? What does this coin do that is going to provide intrinsic value? And if it has no intrinsic value, eventually it will run into problems. That's it. Also, Box Puncher, spot on. Welcome to the channel. He pulls off the suspenders really nice. He really pulls off the detective look.
And the most popular and successful attempt at this has come from Terra Labs, a company which created Luna and UST. These two coins are extremely popular and in the top 10 of all cryptocurrencies. So the project is massive. And if these coins were to go bust, billions of dollars would vanish.
Again,
one reason that people have invested so much into UST and Luna is because of a savings protocol called Anchor, which promises people a stable return of around 20%, which is obviously insane, especially given how stable stablecoins are supposed to be. As a reminder, Bernie Madoff only promised a stable return of 10% a year, and the Anchor protocol is nearly doubling.
Bernie Madoff created payment for order flow and was also behind the world's or the United States' largest Ponzi scheme.
Many people to accuse it of being a Ponzi scheme. However, Luna investors, who often call themselves lunatics, say everyone knows these rates are unsustainable and claim they're just being used as a growth tactic to get people into the ecosystem and that they will eventually be lowered over time. As of a day ago, there was $14 billion locked up into this 20% a year free money scheme. And this has been one of the major drivers of adoption. And this 20% return was seen as a great investment for many, right up until the crypto markets went into free fall over the weekend. And Luna and UST were hit some of the hardest of all. Luna fell 50% in one day, and UST actually depegged all the way down to 69 cents. Nice.
Even Fraud likes to speak in memes. F's in the chat for 69 fucking 69, baby. That's the best Fraud I've ever seen in my life. Thanks for the Prime Bad Energy. I appreciate you, bro.
Actually depegged all the way down to 69 cents. Nice. As for the Anchor protocol, there was roughly $7 to $8 billion withdrawn from the protocol over the course of a couple days. Like I said, billion-dollar bank run. And as of the time of writing, I really do have no idea if UST is going to recover at all. And that's why I brought on my guest
definitely
today,
real.
Bennett Tomlin. He's something of a stablecoin specialist, and you may recognize him from my Tether video. And I couldn't think of a better person to talk to really get to the bottom of this. Bennett, thanks for coming.
Depegging drops it. So if you imagine a stablecoin, essentially what a stablecoin is supposed to do is allow you to, like, one coin is worth $1 and it can never be worth less than $1 unless it depegs. So if UST is supposed to be a 1-to-1, one coin is always going to be worth at least $1 and it goes beneath, it depegged.
On the show. So this is absolutely insane. We have billions of dollars hanging in the balance.
And that happens typically in liquidity crisis.
Here. And I guess my question is, what are the
That guy looks
scenarios?
like he's got a butt
Billions
plug
of
in.
dollars hanging in the balance here. And I guess my question is,
Or he's pooping.
what are the scenarios here? Which
He's a smart
ways
dude, though.
could this go?
Sure. So the first way this could go is that people continue to lose confidence in this system and try to exit their Terra into Luna, which when you do it below peg, mints more Luna and provides continued downward pressure on the price of Luna, which is the algorithmic stable coin death spiral that's often talked about. Is once the confidence is shaken, it can feed into itself, and as the protocol is trying to protect itself, it's also destroying itself by draining any of the remaining value out. The other option is that Do Kwon and Terraform Labs are able to, using their Bitcoin reserves,
Thanks for the follow, Jenny,
partnering
Jen.
with appropriate market makers,
Hey, who in chat thinks that that Luna needs a good pegging?
venture capitalists, that they're able to, at least for now, get this back to peg. Once they have it at peg, they're going to need to convince the community that this is still a thing worth having confidence in. What you might see, in order to try to get that confidence back, is Do Kwon and Terraform Labs, or perhaps just the Terra community broadly, may try to find a scapegoat, some kind of entity, firm, or person who they can come up with a plausible motivation for wanting to attack Terra.
I think that second option is actually viable, though. That you don't just randomly lose. There's two ways that Luna could have lost that much value that fast. One, they drained it. The creators of Luna drained it. Or two, it was a very, very well coordinated attack. And I've seen the conspiracies, people saying it was Citadel, people saying it was this, it was that, it was BlackRock, whatever. Truth is, nobody knows. The only things that I've seen have been people typing in their fucking iPhone notes. That's not proof, right? We don't know who did it. But there's really only two options here. So if there was a bad actor, there was a bank or an institution or a hedge fund that pissed on it, you catch them, that maybe can fix your problem.
I'm already finding that, by the way. They're coming out and saying that centralized banks want to bring Terra down. They want to take down Luna. So you're already seeing that
again. You guys already
occur.
got me with that.
But one of the interesting things I thought about the Luna Foundation Guard, or whatever it's called, is that they bought Bitcoin to supposedly protect the Luna peg. But since the markets are pretty correlated, when the markets go down like this and you have like an attack on the peg, aren't they selling Bitcoin at a loss to protect Luna and then making Bitcoin crash even harder? Like, am I getting that right? Why would you invest in an asset that would probably be down when you need it the most?
Because I think Do Kwon's goal with purchasing the Bitcoin wasn't really to stabilize the peg or make the Terra system
You wanted
better.
to make money?
I think that the primary goal with purchasing this massive amount of Bitcoin was to make it harder for people who care about Bitcoin to criticize Luna or Terra, because he was on pace to become like one of the single largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. And once you're in that
He looks
position,
kind of sweaty.
you have a
I
lot
wonder
of
if it's
influence
hot wherever this guy
over
lives.
Bitcoin, and you can get a lot of things you may want because no one wants you to suddenly market sell $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. That would be very bad for anyone who holds Bitcoin or anyone who holds assets heavily correlated with Bitcoin, which is the entire cryptocurrency market.
Could be Millimeter
They've
Peter.
now made it where
Could be, but this seems like a very coordinated
Terra,
attack.
criticizing Luna,
For sure. I think it could be a
destabilizing their system
contributing factor.
risks destabilizing a larger portion of the crypto ecosystem as a whole, and as such, many perhaps all crypto holders now have an incentive to try to make sure that Luna and Terra survive.
I think also another part of this that we have to talk about is obviously their success with the Anchor protocol, or I call it success. They've been offering these crazy 20% rates of return. Can you explain? It's this weird game. It feels like Bernie Madoff, the whole like you get this really stable return. Actually, it's way over what Bernie Madoff was offering. Can you explain that? I know they're saying that, look, it's just a growth hack, but it feels
hack
awful
equals pyramid
Ponzi-like.
scheme.
Why are you laughing?
Yeah, I'm laughing because when Cass and I did our episode on Terra, there's the moment when we talk about this, and Cass asked me, why does this feel like a scam? I'm like, it feels like a scam because they're telling you they can guarantee a 20% interest rate. And when someone tells you that, they're basically always scamming you. That's not a real thing that generally happens. And so for a long time, Terraform Labs was providing funds. Well, they're still providing funds.
Yeah.
Terraform Labs is providing funds to the Anchor protocol so that you can get a rate higher than the market can support for lending out your Terra. It did used to be this like guaranteed stable 20% or so, 19 whatever percent yield. They recently did make it so it starts to float a little bit, but it's still subsidized so that you get more for lending it than you pay to borrow it.
Crazy idea.
And
only in crypto, by the way. Only in crypto.
Yeah. Normally that goes the other way. The good faith explanation for what they were doing is that they hoped they could get this big enough that it would actually start being used for like
real things,
commerce or foreign exchange or payments or
look at the smirk on
currency
Coffee's face.
Things currencies
real
are used
things,
for. But instead,
not
everyone just used it for the free money, and eventually free money ends.
Right. Well, it seems like every time a stable coin fails,
Jungles, if you like a TA, man, follow
it just seems
Lucid
like
Trades
somebody
on
has
Twitter.
a new idea for, I know what they did wrong. I'll fix it this time. This is going to be the one true.
See, I wish they had new ideas. That would be.
You don't think they do?
This like Terra is not very meaningfully different from like the economic concepts behind Dan Larimer's New Bits from like 2015 or not New Bits, BitShares from like 2015, or it's not super meaningfully different from the Titan and Iron Finance one, which famously broke and lost Mark Cuban a bunch of money.
This one just feels very well funded.
Yes.
And it feels like
this one's big. I think what makes Terra so interesting is none of the
If a crypto
other
goes to
algorithmic
zero,
stablecoins
you have no money.
To $18 billion.
Yeah, you lose.
Do
That's
Kwon
game
and
over.
Terraform Labs were way more effective at marketing and growth than any of the previous algorithmic stablecoin teams. And because of that, it got to a scale and size where it ended up posing this relatively unique risk to the cryptocurrency ecosystem that no algorithmic stablecoin has really been able to do before, because they were always so much more isolated. It was a lot easier to call many of the older ones Ponzi's or really emphasize the game or the scheme part, because they were a lot less likely to interact with other protocols and to become this more broadly accepted part of the ecosystem. But there's places that had UST as a base pair and stuff for exchanges, right? Like this had started to reach out into a broader part of the ecosystem. Now we're talking about a stablecoin that was able to sponsor a US sports team, right? And so like it's entirely different and it's way more deeply connected. And so seeing it play out in this way has been a bit of a contrast to past algorithmic stablecoin blowouts, and might perhaps give us some idea of what might happen if, say, a stablecoin about 4.5 times the size of Terra were to suddenly become much less valuable.
Frightening, and I hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. Thank you so much, Bennett, for coming on and explaining all this stuff to us. Guys, Bennett and his co-host, Cass, have a podcast that I want you guys all to go listen to. You want to shout it out real quick?
Yeah, sure. Cass Pianci and I are the co-hosts of Crypto Critics Corner. You can find it on YouTube or anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Great podcast. I listened to it myself. Thank you so much for jumping on and explaining what's happening. Crazy times. Stay safe out there. We'll see you.
Well, if there's any grand takeaway for me from that video, it's if you were in Luna, get fucked, kid. I guess you just lose. There's really no other way around it. I've said this forever, man. I've said this forever. I think cryptocurrency can only be one of two things. And this isn't talking about blockchain, because I think blockchain will be used basically no matter what. One, it'll be the greatest innovation of our entire generation and our entire lifetime. If cryptocurrency actually succeeds and turns into what people think it can, it will be the greatest thing we've witnessed in a long time. Two, if it's not the greatest innovation of our lifetime, it is going to be the greatest scam of our lifetime. And either way, I'm just going to watch on the sidelines. I'm either going to watch, I'm not going to partake, I'm not going to buy. I'm either going to watch the greatest thing since the wheel for a car, or I'm going to watch trillions of dollars just get evaporated. I don't know. We guess we'll find out in the end. But I am bullish on blockchain. Yeah, I think blockchain's got a lot of good value. It's nice that everybody can have a ledger, unlike the stock market, you know? Everybody can see everything as long as you have an address, a wallet, you know? So blockchain, good. Crypto, dog. To me, I just don't want to partake. I don't want to have to gamble on whether it's going to be an innovation or a scam. The digital dollar replace stablecoins. I can see that, honestly. I mean, if you ask me, I think the government's going to try and find any way they can to make money off of this sort of big move or whatever. And by the way, the same thing goes for NFTs. I think the majority of NFTs, 95 to 99% of them, will go to nothing. Because you always have to ask yourself the same fucking question, the same thing that I say every time somebody asks me about crypto or NFTs. Say, Trey, what do you think of this crypto? Trey, what do you think of this NFT? I'll only ask you one thing. I'll say, does it have intrinsic value? And if you can answer that honestly, and it's yes, then send it. I don't care. You do you. But if it has no intrinsic value, eventually things end. Oh, hi. Oh, I didn't see you there. Well, since you're here, check out this video. And also that video. And maybe Twitch, which is down there, fucker. Have a good night.